Hey y'all, today is day 4 of the 119 days daily posting videos. Am I excited? Nah, I'm excited actually because I'm really glad that I've gotten to day 4. We have to celebrate our small wins so that we feel motivated to do bigger things, right? But I think I'll be most excited when I get to probably day 30 because that's like a third of the way. But either way, shout out today for. And today I'm going to be talking about the top industries in Jamaica and the opportunities that are there. If you watched day 2, I think I talked about the fact that I recorded this video because it would have been a natural follow-up after I talked about the minimum wage person and the $1 million person, the millionaire and the person making minimum wage in Jamaica. I said that was going to be my follow-up, but I just felt I wanted it to be a more natural conversation flow than an over-scripted video, so I just didn't upload it, and I'm going to talk about it right now. Okay, so some of you may already know. For those who don't know, the top industries in Jamaica have been the top industries for a very long time. You know, they say there's nothing new under the sun, and I guess this is kind of just one of those examples. Nothing new under the sun. So we have the tourism industry, we have mining, we have manufacturing, we have agriculture, and we have financial services slash business. Those are mainly like the top 5. But of course, we have construction, which is a very big part of the Jamaican economy. We have the creative economy, and we have logistics. Yes, all those shipping companies. But in this video, I'm going to just be talking about tourism, mining, and manufacturing. In my next video, I'll break down the others just so we're not on here for the entire night. I mean, not literally, but you know what I mean. Just to keep it short enough, but informative. So, we're going to start with tourism. Tourism industry, when you think of tourism, you know, the natural things that come to our minds, we have the hotels, the resorts, the villas, the beaches. All of those things come to our minds, right? And then with the parishes that may come to our mind are Negril, Moby, and Montego Bay, Kingston. Typically, right? And the average person does not have the money to start a hotel or a villa. And that is where one of the things that have been a very common business idea and opportunity in the tourism industry came about with Airbnb. So I was listening to a podcast with Ira Jamaica and Trop, and Trop was asking her that if she thinks the Airbnb industry is saturated. You know, she has been in the Airbnb industry for a while, so I'm assuming, you know, she's very certified to talk about it. And her response was, in Kingston, there's a lot of Airbnbs. Every corner you turn, there's an Airbnb. Now, from my personal experience, I've never stayed in an Airbnb, so this is not from me. I am just reiterating what she said. And of course, because it's an opportunity and everybody wants to jump on the train, which is, you know, smart because you want to capitalize on what is going on in the country. She did mention that she came out of the Airbnb industry. I mean, the Airbnb itself, but still within that same tourism sector, and she was doing, I don't quote me, but I think she said that she was doing a car service with some of the Airbnb or something like that. All right, but since the average person don't have the money to do hotels and those major establishments, we're going to start with what we have. So obviously we know that when we think of tourism, whenever you go to a different country, and it's the same when people come to Jamaica. They need somewhere to stay. If you have somewhere in your home that you and you're comfortable with letting people in your home, this could literally be something that you do. A lot of the tourists are not trying to stay in the hotels only and the resorts only because they want to get the local experience. They want to be immersed in the culture, and this is a really great way for them to get that experience. But we're not just talking about Airbnb, because as she said, every corner you turn in Kingston, there's an Airbnb, right? I like to think of things in terms of questions. Like, I always try to find out, how can I make something different if I'm interested in something in the first place? And what are the gaps? So if you are interested in the Airbnb industry, these are 3 questions that you can ask yourself to see how you can stand out and create a different product. Maybe you're not in Kingston or in the top tourist destinations, but you can go on Airbnb and go on social media like you're on right now and see where are the tourists going, if they want to stay somewhere else, if they want to get a different experience, because Jamaica has 14 parishes. Montego Bay, Negril, and Kingston are only 3. So maybe they want to explore the rest of the country, and maybe they are, and you can have them, you can host in your home and collect some change. Now, not everybody. So when we're talking about Airbnb, it doesn't mean that you have to have a separate space. You can still host them in your home. You just have to find creative ways to make yourself comfortable and make them comfortable, right? If you still want to stay in the tourism industry, but you don't have a home, you don't have space in your home to host, or you just simply don't want anybody in your home, you can, and you have a vehicle, you can capitalize on this next part. Now, there are a lot of touring companies that are starting in Jamaica. Some have been established for a long time. Some are coming in the business because they're seeing gaps and so forth. If you don't want to go a full-on touring company route, you could, one of the things that I see that could be an opportunity, you could partner with some of the Airbnbs and offer taxi services back and forth. When the tourists come to the country, they don't want to think about vehicle, and some people are glad to rent their cars, but some people are coming here who don't know anywhere and want some guidance, would love to have a taxi come and pick them up. So they don't have to go through renting a car, they don't have to drive by themselves through places that they don't know. And you could partner with the Airbnb, so once they book, you are assigned that job, and you're still earning within that tourism sector, because probably you don't want to do full-on taxi. Because I used to work in the insurance industry for a couple of months, so I have an idea of how high those premiums are, and also the unreliability of drivers, and just how the taxi business is really beneficial to the drivers more than the owners of the cars. So if you don't want to create that burden on yourself and you still want to make some money, this could be an opportunity that you can explore. So this is one of the top industries in Jamaica, and I'm just going through different ways on how you can make money. Because if we're going to sit down and say no money is in Jamaica, while people are constantly coming there and making money, it's literally no longer proven to be true. So it's either you're going to find ways to make money there, or just take yourself out of the conversation, or keep yourself in the conversation and keep saying there's no opportunities there, thinking the grass is always greener somewhere else, and never actually create the wealth for yourself. Your choice. That being said, I'm moving on to the next industry, and I do have a hot take, but I'm going to keep it to the end of this video. So please stick around for that. Well, the next industry that I'm going to move on to is manufacturing industry. Now, I was listening to a podcast. Yes, I'm listening to things all the time because that's how you learn, right? I was listening to a podcast where the CEO of one of the top manufacturing companies in Jamaica was actually inviting Jamaicans to start businesses in the manufacturing industry, because it's a blooming industry in the Jamaican landscape, In 2022 alone, that industry contributed $2 billion. Manufacturing sector contributed $2 billion to the Jamaican economy. Not to mention the US 961 million through exports. I mean, selling your products outside of country. I mean, I'm sure you know what export means, but yeah. Selling to countries and companies outside of Jamaica. Bringing that. Imagine if you're just getting $1 million out of that pie. What could you do with that? How could that change your trajectory? And manufacturing just means to make. Don't be scared by these major names, manufacturing sector. It just means to make. If you make furniture, you're in the manufacturing sector. If you make spices, if you make food, if you make cosmetics, appliances, once you're making something, it's being manufactured. The CEO mentions that his employees always come and report how good they feel when they go into establishments like the KFC and see that the people are sitting down eating meals on the furniture that they created. So if this is something, if you're interested in, remember I said it's request and not interest, because interest is important. I am very much aware of that. For example, I could not create a YouTube channel talking about hair and makeup and cosmetics for a very long time. I could do a couple of videos on it, yes, but I couldn't do it every single day because I'm not that interested. Like, I love to get my hair done, I love to look nice and stuff, but I'm not that interested in talking about it. So when you're interested in something, it pulls you in, it helps you to fuel. Even when you step away from it, you find yourself back because you are interested. So interest has to be there. So this is not for the person who is not interested. It's just if you naturally have a knack for making stuff, you have a skill, you're interested, then this may be a sector that you want to look into. And if you're already in it, keep going, because a lot of these big companies are making billions and you're not making that yet means you should be discouraged. All of them started making nothing until they started to make something. So if you're interested and you're in it already, keep going. But if you're not in it yet and you are interested, find out what is required. If you want to make food, find out what kind of permits you need, what kind of establishments need to clear your products, and get into the know, get curious, find out what's needed to be done to get you to where you want to go. This is a growing in sector in the economy, and it will only continue to grow. It's just, are you going to be a part of the growth, or are you going to still sit and say there's no opportunities? This next industry though, this is coming from way back, and this is going to be mining. When I was in primary school, I can remember being in social studies class and my teachers talking about aluminum and bauxite mining. I don't know if I knew what that was, but now as I'm understanding it, I was just like, huh. So mining is just the process of uncovering minerals from the soil. That's basically what it is. It's just a fancy term for taking up dirt, digging up dirt, creating, digging up and finding what's there. And bauxite is mined in Jamaica in Clarendon, Manchester, and St. Anne's, I believe, is most of where the mining takes place. And then it's dried to remove the moisture, the dirt, the red dirt. Bauxite is dried to remove the moisture, and then it's exported to the US. And that bauxite is raw material that creates alumina. Alumina is then further processed into aluminum. And aluminum is used in practically everything. The phones, aluminum. Either has some byproduct of aluminum in every single phone, even the one that you're watching me on, if you're watching me on your phone. The laptops, all the electronics, tablets, all of it. Then we have transportation, or cars, the airplanes, motorcycles, aluminum. The appliances, aluminum. The can, the Pepsi can, the Coca-Cola can, aluminum. We have paper products, the aluminum foil, the name is literally in here, aluminum. All of the raw material for that is mined in Jamaica. And it's not just about bauxite, but we also mine sand and gravel. We mine limestone, we mine granite, all the things that used to make those fancy kitchen cabinets that you have in your house, those are mined. And now they're exploring to mine copper, silver, gold, and a lot of different things in the industry that they are looking to discover there. And this is not an industry that you're just going to just drop over and fall in, or maybe you'll drop over and fall in it, who knows. But you have to be certified and trained to operate in this sector. But if you become skilled at what you do, which is a gap in many of these industries, manufacturing and mining, you are literally setting yourself up to create additional income. Even if it's not going to get you to a millionaire status, but you have a lot more disposable income, extra cash, to use to do other things that can get you closer to that space. So if this again comes back to interest, if this is something that you're interested in, you can explore the different certificates and what are needed to learn about this sector. And there are different websites in the Jamaican landscape that shows up and coming opportunities in the different sectors. I think it's investinja.gov. I don't quote me on that, but I will look it up and I will tell you in the video that I'm going to make tomorrow. That it shows different projects that are up and coming and current projects that are happening in these sectors if you're looking to invest. If you already have some cash and you just want to invest. But this is another industry that you can tap into. Nothing is easy. What we have to do is, as I said, you're asking yourself, am I interested in this? Am I interested in this? What are the gaps? And how can I differentiate myself? And I'm going to talk about my hot take now, because I think if you literally implement these two traits in any business that you're doing, you're already differentiating yourself. You already won, like you won. One of those is reliability. I hear a lot of conversations going on about people not having reliable businesses, reliable suppliers, reliable workers for their business. And so they cannot sustain certain contracts because everybody wants to work with somebody. If I'm a business owner and I take you on to supply me something, my customers are depending on me. So that means I have to depend on you. If you're not reliable, it's going to get me out of business. I don't want to come out of business. So reliability is one thing that will definitely set you apart from a lot of businesses in Jamaica. For sure. And if you think reliability will set you apart, don't me not even mention this next one. Customer service. Jamaica get 0 out of 100 for customer service. Like, come for me if you will. I don't care. Like 0 out of 100. It's my country and I love my country. 0 out of 100. If you have a business and customer service is one, actually, no, let me take that back. Let me say 1%, because there were some places that I've been to that I felt great after I left. But there were more places that I felt awful than great. So if you prioritize good customer service, you're already setting yourself apart. I'm going to give a little story. So my little sister and I, we went to this pizza place in downtown Waterfront. My sister saw the place on Instagram. She was so excited to try it. And I was also excited to try it too. I looked on the menu. They have really versatile pizza, ackee and saltfish, which is my favorite. And a lot of different types. I'm so excited. I walked into the place Two ladies were standing at the counter talking. One of them turned their back to the door, the other one the other way. So I went and I said, "Good morning. What time are you guys? No, are you guys open? We're not open. We're not open." Attitude. I don't know these girls from anywhere. We never met before. I said, "Do you know what time you guys are going to open?" "I don't know." My appetite fell through my slippers. I no longer wanted a pizza. I had made up my mind, like, I would not spend my money here. I would not spend my money here. It don't matter even how much I wanted it. And I want my little sister to have the thing, you know, but I would not spend my money there. And I thought about this. If I was the owner of that establishment and I walked in and hear how they were dealing with my customers, knowing that the customers coming with the money, I'm going to say this and I'll go back and say what I want to say. The customers coming with the money, and this is how you're going to deal with them. I don't believe the customer is always right, to be honest, because there are a lot of times when I have had unfair experiences dealing with customers, and I don't think they were right in that instance. But they are the one bringing in the money. So at the same time, you know, some things you just let go. But I am just thinking about the fact that I didn't even want to shop there anymore. It didn't even matter what quality products they had, because the customer service made me feel like I am begging you to take my hard-earned money. And that's not the scenario that I have in my head. I wanted to come and spend it, but no, I don't. So reliability and customer service are two things. If you get right in your business, you are literally setting yourself apart from many businesses in Jamaica. So I hope this is helpful and this is something that you can implement. To think about these sectors, and if these are not sectors that you are interested in, come back tomorrow where I'm going to talk about the agricultural sector, the financial services, construction, logistics, and the creative economy. If I can't get to all 5 of those or 6, I'll just do a follow-up. But either way, come back tomorrow where we'll continue this conversation. If we haven't met before, excuse my manners, I'm Khrista-Lee and I talk all things investing in you. And if this conversation is interesting to you, comment below something that stood out. Let's continue the conversation down there. Tell me about the experience when you had good or bad customer service in Jamaica. Tell me if you agree that these two factors are really differentiating factors in the Jamaican landscape business-wise. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Alright, and if you like this video, please consider subscribing, like the video, give it a thumbs up, turn on your notification bell so you can be notified when I post. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, let's go make some mistakes. Bye.